was told at an Alpha Awareness workshop in Pontiac in the 70s that she would be a minister someday. In the 80s, her life circumstances changed and she moved to California, where she began her esoteric and spiritual studies in earnest. In 2018, Joanne came to Center of Enlightenment. Happened to be when I was teaching an angel class. And she registered for it. And at the same time she registered for it, she realized that this was the place she was meant to be. So she immediately signed up and registered at COE. So you did it both at the same time. And now she is in the ministerial program here. I give you Joanne Wise.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Joanne.
I'm a child of the 60s, by which I mean I was a young woman when our country got into the Vietnam War. And I have always been interested in peace as a way of life. So when people interested in the anti-war movement started calling it the peace movement in the 60s, I was naive and I went to a peace meeting and quickly discovered that what they really meant was not peace, but withdrawal from the war. I left the meeting never to return. More than 50 years have passed since then, and as some of you know, I have been taking care of a man with Alzheimer's disease since May this year. I just knew I needed to do this. I'd been a caregiver before, but I had never taken care of someone with Alzheimer's before, and I didn't quite know what to expect. So I've been very pleased to discover that the man I'm taking care of is a delightful man, and I've enjoyed working with him. It's my understanding that he's always been a real homebody, but he's also quite funny and has both a wonderful smile and laugh, and we get along great. I do simple things for him, like taking him for a walk in the house and fixing him food and encouraging him to drink fluids to keep himself hydrated. In short, I help him to take care of himself. I help him to take care of himself and stay healthy. I cover him and I uncover him every little while because he's not able to regulate his body temperature very well anymore. And he gets easily tangled up in the covers when he tries to do it for himself. We watch television together and I switch the channels because he doesn't remember how to operate the remote anymore. I share pictures of my grandchildren and my family activities and my dogs. In short, I'm his friend and I have a good time. And we have a good time, sorry. While I am with him, it gives his spouse needed time to do the grocery shopping or go out for breakfast with a friend or to take care of other personal or family matters. Both people need support that I can give. So what does taking care of my friend have to do with peace as a way of life? Well, contemplating what I'm doing and how to do it led me to a book called Dancing with Elephants, or Mindfulness Training for Those Living with Dementia, Chronic Illness, or an Aging Brain, or How to Die Smiling. This book, written in 2017 by Jerem Sawatsky, a retired Canadian professor who is a Mennonite and is now facing his own elephant of inherited Huntington's disease using the tools he discusses in the book. I can't help but notice that at my age, there is a bonus of learning about Jaren's book and his mindfulness tools, since I too am the owner of an aging brain myself. Dancing with Elephants is book 1 of Jaron's trilogy called The Healing Way. And book 2 is a video book of his interviews with John Kabat-Zinn, Patch Adams, Lucy Kalanithi, John Paul Lederich, and Tony Berhard. The third book in the trilogy is called Healing Justice and is based on Jerem's own professional studies and work in the field of conflict resolution. It was hard for me to pick out what to talk about today because Jaron's Dancing with Elephants book is inspiring in its presentation of numerous ideas of what's important in life and the ways in which we can live peacefully with joy and happiness despite the presence of illness or disability. In his book, Jerem talks about a conversation he had with John Kabat-Zinn and tells us John asserts that there is more right with you than wrong with you, no matter what's wrong with you. John developed a widely used program called Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction, or MBSR, which is offered in hundreds of hospitals around the world. It includes mindfulness techniques that have helped numerous people to learn how to use MBSR tools John teaches. Their learning these techniques, in turn, helps them cultivate a default mode of being in the present moment as non-reactive, non-judgmental people who are open-hearted and attentive or aware. As John points out, we all have a terminal condition called living, and we can all choose to give up our suffering and live in peace with each other by happily focusing our lives through the use of the mindfulness tools he teaches. Wow. This message is the same as the one Jesus gave us more than 2,000 years ago when he too told us to give up our suffering. This is not a new message. Jerem also talks about Patch Adams, who everybody knows because of the movie by that name. But what some of us haven't known is that Patch Adams' real name is Dr. Hunter Dougherty, and he is known not just because of the movie, but because of the ideas that he developed while in medical school that led to the creation in 1971 of a model hospital in West Virginia known as Gesundheit Institute, where patients really did live with their doctors and really did receive free care. You'll find in your pew a copy of the principles that this institute was founded on. Patch's story began because he made a decision at the age of 18 to live every day in peace, love, and gratitude as a happy, funny, loving, cooperative, creative, and thoughtful person, and to work as a free doctor who incorporates these qualities and clowning into his life through conversation, humor, gratitude, and joy. The Gesundheit Institute closed after 12 years, but Patch continues. He says he has not been at any deathbeds, but that he has been present at more than 10,000 life beds since he first became an instrument of peace and love. A week ago, now 3 weeks ago, as I was working to finish writing this sermon, the friend that I spoke of at the beginning of this talk died, and I miss him terribly. Even though I started writing this piece a couple of months ago, I just couldn't complete it. And so I've delayed telling you about my experience. Now I'm able to tell you that I was inspired to both work with my friend and by him. It has been a long journey, and I've learned a lot, and I'm grateful. In fact, my journey has been like a dose of vitamin awe. Also described in Dancing with Elephants by John Paul Lederich. He says it's a faith which is about a sense of awe and that is captured in the mystery of the extraordinary gift of the life and the world we were born into. John Paul says we need a daily dose of vitamin awe, and that singing is one of the places that he experiences it and is able to prevail against the winter creep of unbearable circumstances. He says, with vitamin awe, everything pops open and becomes alive again. He tells us that cultivating vitamin awe is a form of mindfulness, and that there is and present there, and that it is there and present in almost everything around us each and every day. So in conclusion, let us each touch the awe in our lives today, and may we each choose peace as a way of life. Thank you for allowing me to share this time with you. Namaste.